Good morning or evening or afternoon. Um, thanks everybody for joining. Can we hear? Can everybody hear us? Okay. Yeah. So today we are back. You all know me. I'll let Shreya and David formally introduce themselves, but we are back again, where Shreya will be taking us through how to a full work through of Edge Impulse. And she'll talk about what Edge Impulse is, the benefits of Edge Impulse. She'll give us a full demo, and then she'll show us a little something special after she goes through, just the entire process of how to get things started. She'll also be going through TFLite on RUBIK Pi and a brief explanation of Qualcomm AIHub. You kind of already know me. Usually I'm doing some type of technical in the weeds deep dive, but today I get to try out my moderator hat. So we'll see how this goes. So Shreya will be here for the deep dive. David will be here for any in-depth technical questions regarding Edge Impulse. I'll be here for emotional support. So,
but not too in depth. Not too in depth. There.
So go ahead, kick off the introductions, Shreya.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Shreya, and I am an intern. I'm a software engineering intern at Qualcomm for the summer. So I'm on developer engineering. So a lot of my summer has been spent looking at Edge Impulse, seeing what we can build on Edge Impulse. And lucky for all of us, we can build a lot of cool things. So today I'll be doing a little bit of a demo. Please feel free to follow along with me. Everything that I'm doing is something that you easily can do. So please follow along with us. It'll be even more fun.
Awesome. Thanks, Shreya. And I'm David Tischler. I'm a developer relations engineer here at Edge Impulse. And I snuck my way into this build along. Derrick and Shreya had made mention somewhere that they were going to be showing off Edge Impulse projects. And I was like, hey, wait a minute. Can I join too? And so I'm excited to see what you've built, Shreya, because you actually have been working on this, like you said, for a couple of months over the summer. I haven't actually seen it, so I'm excited too.
Awesome. Yeah. So I guess we can go straight into it if that's all right.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to start sharing my screen, and what I'll be sharing is two different windows. So I'll have Edge Impulse on one side, and then I also have my RUBIK Pi terminal on the other side. So let me see if I can share my screen. Hopefully, y'all can see what's going on over here. But if you're curious to what Edge Impulse is, don't worry. It's a machine learning and development platform that makes it really easy to do a couple of things. It's really easy to build, train, and optimize and deploy machine learning models directly onto edge devices. And we know Qualcomm's all about the edge. So Edge Impulse is truly an awesome platform. And you could do a lot of different types of projects on here, whether it's computer vision, you could do audio processing, I believe, object detection. But today we're going to focus more on a computer vision project. So before I kind of go into a little demo of what I've been doing this summer, I thought it'd be first fun if we could go through a demo ourselves and do a little project on Edge Impulse together. So I want everyone to just look at their desk. I think most engineers are probably at a desk, or maybe you're sitting on your bed. Whatever it is, you probably have an object around you. I'm literally going to we're going to do a little simple project with it, which is just seeing whether or not there's a pen in front of the camera. And I'll show you how easy it is to do on Edge Impulse. So let's just do this together. So I'm on Edge Impulse right now. This is my Qualcomm account, but you can also just create one. And I already have a name on here. It's Pen Discord Live demo, and you have two options, personal or enterprise. This project can be done on personal. I'm just going to go ahead and use enterprise so you could just see what it's like, but go ahead and use personal as well.
Yeah, definitely. And Shreya, if I can hop in real fast, the free plan is perfect for getting started. It's more than sufficient for the vast majority of what a developer is going to do. It's really only once you get up into organizational features or deploying at scale to shipping products that you need to start thinking about, okay, maybe enterprise is the way to go, but free is totally fine. And I'm going to build along maybe as well. I don't know. But I found this guy on my desk. Let's see.
Yeah, let's do it together. It's super fun. So let's start with building our model. And obviously, in order to build a good model, you need a data set. But since we are taking images that are on our desk, we're we're gonna actually have to take some images ourselves, but luckily Edge Impulse makes it really easy. So you can add existing data by uploading over here, but I'm gonna just go ahead and click to add new data. And I'm gonna just scan this QR code with me. Please go ahead and just try this by yourself. And you just start by like taking photos of your image. So
wow, so you can basically, so you're saying you can scan the QR code and then you can build your data set through your phone?
yes,
Oh,
it's truly very, very easy. So I'm going to adjust the label on here so I can actually enter a label on my phone. So I'm going to call it nothing because I'm just going to take pictures of a blank background, and I'm not aiming to get too many photos just for the sake of this demo. So I'm just taking pictures of kind of the screen that I'm going to put my pen against. So
like zero latency also.
Not going to take too long. And it already does like literally everything for you. So like if you want to split it across like 80-20 for your testing and your training data set, it does it for you. Once again, super straightforward, but this won't take too long.
So since there are some, maybe some people that are kind of new to this, what would you recommend the split to be, or what have you seen was the ideal split for training versus test?
I actually agree with the split of 80-20. I think it is a standard in computer science for a reason. So I think that's been very standard for me.
Yeah, the only time I change it is if I have a data set that I already collected like in the past, and I want to sneak a little more data into the training, and I know it's going to be really difficult to go get more data. That's the only time I'll really bump up into the 85, 90, 95 even, but that is absolutely not best practice. It's just as I'm experimenting.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So great, we've collected our data, and I only have 147 images, but trust me, this will be good enough for us. So we're gonna go straight into creating an impulse. Correct me if I'm wrong, but an impulse is kind of a combination of the processing as well as the creating, like the impulse itself, so the learning block as well. So it's the processing block and the learning block combined into one. But I'm actually going to first configure my target device. So I'm running this on the RUBIK Pi. So I'm going to switch this to Qualcomm Dragonwing, and I'm just going to go ahead and save our settings right here. So you don't have to deploy this on edge devices, by the way. You can run this on your laptop. So if you don't have one in front of you, don't worry about it. You can run this on your laptop. But let's go in with the image data. We're not going to change anything here, but I am going to modify in the processing block. So this is used to transform the raw sensor data. So in this case, we're looking at images, and we're turning it into something that's suitable to machine learning models. And this is part of the pre-processing pipeline. And it's designed to handle all different types of data, but today we're looking at image data. So I'm going to click image. And what's cool about Edge Impulse is the fact that you can make your own things in here. So right now, this is a learning block, and it's what we do to actually train the model. So different types of architectures are here. So I'm going to go ahead and click transfer learning. I don't have that large of a data set, so I want something to just fine tune upon. And I also want this to go kind of fast. So I'm selecting transfer learning. But as you can see right here, you can bring your own model here. So if you already have a trained model, I'll show you the steps to bring your own model and directly profile it, and then you can deploy that on your edge devices. But beyond that, if you just want to train your model with Edge Impulse, you could create your own custom learning block. So I'm going to go ahead and click transfer learning, and I'm going to save our impulse. And there you go. It saved pretty fast. So now I'm going to go into image, and I'm just going to save our parameters and generate our features. This won't take very long at all. But if you're curious on what it's like to actually create your own custom machine learning block, here's a really cool link that I explored, at least when I was looking into this. I do think all the architectures that you do need are on Edge Impulse, but in case you wanted to create one, like this is an example of a small logistic regression model, you could go ahead and try out this GitHub.
And it's actually pretty cool, tapping back on when you showed all of the devices. By having all of those devices, you can easily benchmark and just see how awesome our products are compared to, say, some of the other devices that they have that you can easily I'm sure everybody has a Raspberry Pi sitting around. So now you can easily just say, hey, this RUBIK Pi is a beast compared to, the Raspberry Pi or whatever other IoT device. So that's cool that that's an option.
Yeah, in this particular case, using that Dragon Wing, the RUBIK Pi, which I have on my desk as well, not plugged in yet. I'm going to run this model, my bird model. I'll run it on my phone. But it's got an AI accelerator built in. The Hexagon DSP is in there, so or NPU is in there. So I think it's 12 tops or so, which is plenty of power. But we'll run this model when deploying onto the RUBIK Pi. We'll run the model in the NPU for accelerated machine learning.
Yeah.
Can run on the CPU, but I mean, the NPU exists for a reason. Take advantage of it.
No, very, very true. But now we're actually getting into the machine learning part of Edge Impulse, which is the transfer learning part. So I imagine that you can use Edge Impulse in a couple of ways. One way, I believe, is as a beginner, if you don't know much about machine learning, but you know what product you want to get at the end, I think this is actually where Edge Impulse really succeeds in. Because here it explains quite clearly what's the number of training cycles? Do you want to use a learned optimizer? And there's docs that you can explore deeper into. The learning rate, the training processor, data augmentation. So I'm going to just quickly just put some arbitrary stuff into here. So I only want to train for a couple of cycles. I could use the CPU or GPU. I'm going to stick with the CPU for now. And I want to add some data augmentation because I imagine I'll be flipping this pen all over the place. So I want to make sure I have some data augmentation. And let's go to save and train. But imagine, and as this loads, I'll talk for a little bit. I imagine if you are a little bit more of an advanced developer and you're more curious about the latter half of Edge Impulse, which is actually directly deploying on edge devices, luckily you are able to interact with Edge Impulse in a more expert way. So I will call the next workflow the developer workflow, because I imagine that you are a developer and you want to use this as a developer. So after this runs, I'll actually show you how we can run this in a different way, or as I imagine it. So as you can see right here, it's running.
Yeah, and while we're training, I see we're still in the first epic. Can you explain more the importance of data augmentation, or what's going on behind the scenes, and why that's probably important? You probably should always have it checked.
Yeah, of course. So obviously there's my training data, my testing data, right? So luckily, because I was just doing it on my phone, all of that data really looks the same. But the thing is, when I put my pen in front of the camera, I'm not going to be holding it in the same ways. This data needs to be rotated, flipped. It needs to be put in different directions, because the data that we're going to be feeding, or the image that's going to go in front of the camera, is different than the data or the images that are going into the model. And to allow for more flexibility and to prevent overtraining, we use data augmentation. And it's cool that Edge Impulse has that baked in, but as I will show you later, I can actually add and customize that part, which I've done for my own personal work, because it's important to have a lot of flexibility in the training step itself. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It essentially helps the model generalize better to maybe an angle that the image it wasn't trained on. Yeah.
All right. And one more thing that I want to show, you are able to get the quantized model and unoptimized model from Edge Impulse, which is great. Also wanted to highlight that. And as this is running, actually, I can start connecting. Oh, actually, there it goes. Okay, so great. We have high accuracy, very low loss. But if we go to the
Wait a minute, 100%. Hold on a second.
We did amazing. Didn't we? But model testing over here. So if you wanted to do testing, it's super straightforward. You could just literally click classify all. If you want to test your quantized model, you can select test quantized model over here.
And just to kind of double tap, because somebody did ask more about the 80-20 split. So on this testing part, this is where you're taking that 20% holdout and you're taking those images. So the 80% was used for training, and then the 20% that was held out from the data set is what we'll use for doing this testing.
Yes.
I guess I kind of started off like that was going to be a question, and then I kind of just took the question mark off of it. So that's why you're saying like, where's the question at? So yeah.
Great. So I guess this takes a bit of a minute, but it won't take too long. Great. It's already completed,
There you
and
go.
you have excellent accuracy. But I think the true test when it comes to machine learning projects is actually deploying it. So there's a couple things you could do. You could scan this, and then you can run it, or you could click the launch in browser. I'm not going to do any of these. I actually want to start doing this on the RUBIK Pi. So let's actually do that. So how do we connect? So this is the UI on the right-hand side, but I want to connect to the CLI. So let's do that.
Somebody asked, what models are you using for this? Somebody asked in Discord.
That's an excellent question. I realized that I completely jumped over that. So the model that I'm using right here is the MobileNet V2 architecture. You have a couple of different options over here. Not a couple. You have a decent amount of options. And the MobileNet V2, if you're a little bit curious, it's just a smaller version of the ResNet model, but it's very high performance, but very, very small. So Impulse. So this is me connecting to my RUBIK Pi. All right, I'm gonna quickly sign in.
I mean, how the whole world has it.
Hey, you're running Ubuntu on your RUBIK Pi.
Nice. Yes. And I'm gonna connect it to, let's see if mine. What do I want to name it? I always call my RUBIK Ruby.
I love it.
Great. So now we know that it's connected. And now I actually want to kill this. And then I'm going to run Edge Impulse Runner. So that's what's actually going to connect it. So Edge Impulse Linux Runner. And you can actually check if it's connected over here on devices. Yeah, it'll show up. So it says that we've just connected to it. And I'm going to run the quantized model. So let's see how well it does. So correct me if I'm wrong, David, but this is going to be running with the NPU, correct?
Yeah, if you're running Int8 and you have the QNN libraries installed on this RUBIK Pi, you're gonna automatically receive a download, a workload that's gonna get deployed onto the NPU, and we're gonna find out in just a moment. While that's going. Actually, I've got an echo. You have an echo? There, now the echo's gone. But while that's running, I just kicked off a build on my bird as well. I took a bunch of pictures of my bird, so we'll see if if I can detect this little guy. Let's see here. There, it's okay. This all looks fine. We're doing a live demo. Have you said prayers to the demo gods before we joined the live stream today?
Didn't have time. I had to restart the laptop. Time?
Then there's no chance this isn't going to work then.
No, I trust it will.
A live demo, I have roughly 50% success rate, I'd say, over the years.
I trust. All right, there you go. Okay, it's working.
Here we go.
So I'm going to just launch this.
You got V1 quantized. Yeah, so you're good.
So this is my camera. It's just connecting via USB to my RUBIK Pi. So great. We're already identifying that there's nothing. So let's see. There you go. Once again, it says that there's a pen. But do you see how easy that was? I think that's the coolest part. If you were if you were a developer and you don't enjoy the coding part and you really enjoy the end product, this is exactly what you're looking for. And even though this, it's completely running on my RUBIK Pi and it's using the NPU, which is excellent. And if you look at the inference time, Do you see how fast that is? That is very, very fast, which is really cool. But let's actually get to some coding. As a developer, I think the coding part is my favorite part, at least. So I'm glad that Edge Impulse gives us an option to play around with it. So let's actually try that. So I'm going to go back into transfer learning, and I'm going to select. Actually, I'm going to keep all of these. But what I am going to do is I'm going to go into expert mode. So what is the use case for like why you're going to go into expert mode? I imagine, and this is something that I ran into when I was personally working with Edge Impulse, which was lowering the compute time. If you are using the personal account, you obviously have limited compute. So there's a couple ways of doing this. You can reduce your data set. Well, I don't want to do that. I don't have many photos, and maybe I need all my photos. Another thing is you can reduce the number of times the training cycles are going, but I don't want to do that. I think I have a good amount, and maybe I want to even increase it. But there's one thing that we can do. We can implement early stopping, and this is a very common practice when you're, this is very common practice when you're doing machine learning. But this is something that I at least added. So let's actually get to some coding, and let me zoom in a little bit so it's not so small. So I'm going to write from. What is it? TensorFlow dot eras and callbacks, right? Import early stopping. And this is just one way that you can go ahead and improve your code. And now I need to go here.
And just to be clear, this is a totally different workflow. So what you showed initially, you would consider like the beginner workflow. And then this is when you want to go a little deeper and get a little bit more granular. Yeah, no, exactly. And you can get into a lot more fine details. And one way is through the data augmentation. So they have a data augmentation. Right here. It's a little function that deals with it. But I had to customize this when it came to ASL classification, which was my project, right? So I'll speak about this later. But I didn't need to do the rotation, right? Like this is a C, but this won't be a C, or like those things matter. So by fine tuning this data augmentation part, I was able to get better results. Also did a lot of other things, but a good example. So let me stop talking and let me write some code. So what I am going to do is I'm going to say that I want to monitor the validation accuracy, right? So val accuracy. What else do I want to do? I want to the minimum change that I want to stop at is 0.005. Another thing that I want to do is there's something called patience, and I want to make this to be 4. I don't want anything too big. So this is actually what, like after 4 training cycles without any change, then it's going to stop. And I'm going to change this to verbose equals 1, and then I want to restore the best weights. We're going to set this equal to true. All right. Hopefully I didn't have any spelling mistakes or anything. And I actually want to increase the number of training cycles. So I'm going to put 10. It should stop before then, but let's see what happens. And here is actually where you modify the batch size. You're not able to do that without going into expert mode. But enough talking. Let's actually get to training. Another thing that I recommend people doing is, I mean, this is all right. I think the optimizer that we're using here, Adam does a cool job, but you can modify it. And the cool thing is Edge Impulse has a lot of docs explaining this. There's literally a doc called lowering compute time, and it goes into all of these steps. Yeah. And that makes it really convenient.
Yeah, some tricks in that doc that you're referring to for exactly that. There's also what we have, there's a feature in there called the learned optimizer, which is doing essentially what you're doing there in the raw code. But there's a check mark that makes it easy for some developers to just like stop training once you've reached a certain point where you're seeing diminishing results. There's also, the Eon compiler, which will help remove unused layers or unused neural network nodes. So there's all kinds of stuff. Yeah, definitely check those docs out.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I'm also trying to connect my secondary camera. Just because I did get inference running for my bird, but that's okay. Let me see where you're at.
No, I'm just letting this train. Quick question for you, actually.
Yeah.
Do a lot of people, people prefer to code in here, or do they try to edit their block locally on VS Code?
It's probably half and half. Quick changes like you're making, totally fine. Just do it right there in the browser. More advanced projects will typically see the VS, like bring down, edit local. There could be more, what's the word I'm looking for? More integration things that they're trying to bring in, dependencies, whatever. So it's probably half and half.
All right, yeah. And also, people are asking to switch to dark mode. I do not know how to do that.
Okay.
We don't. It's a good point. You know what? I wonder if we have a feature request in the backlog for it. But there's not one in the studio for you to switch to.
That's perfectly fine. So as you can see right here, let me try to zoom in to make it easier for people to see. We've implemented early stopping. It's finished training early, which is great. That's exactly what we wanted. So after this loads, I will show ASL classification. I'm just going to do a really quick demo to show kind of just how it works. But before I kind of get into that, I will say that there's, I trained it on a lot of images, I think around 60K images, pulled from a lot of different data sets in order to get the most amount of variety in my training set directly, just because it's a difficult task because there's 28 different classes, and I'm trying to make a very small model because it needs to run on a RUBIK Pi. So all of these lead to a lot of different constraints, but I wanted to show off that we're able to do a pretty good job. There you go. All right, so it ran. But actually, one more thing I forgot to tell you guys about is uploading your own model. So if you want to upload, this is where you upload. It's very straightforward. Although I do kind of recommend going through the Impulse route. I think it's very easy to do and you're able to get decent results. But if you do have your own model, they allow you to upload. And you also, if you want to download the models that you're creating here, you could go ahead and do it right here. So the transfer learning model, so this is the flow, and this is the intake model that we were using that we ran on the RUBIK Pi. So all of this you can get from here. And I know we took images from our phone, right? But we're able to download the image training data over here. So in case you wanted to move that, you have that option as well.
So quick question, because I know you plugged into a server to get it to run the model on RUBIK Pi. Is that model downloaded somewhere as well? So after you train the model, you can basically port it, into your own application, or how was that transferred to the RUBIK Pi?
What I ended up doing was I just I'm sure there's like an API that I could call and that just downloads it for me. But to be honest, you could just download it here, and then I just use SCP to move it to the RUBIK Pi.
Exactly. You could grab it via API. Over on the build, on the deployment tab, when Shreya was over on deployment, there's other options in there as well. Build a library, build just raw C++. Like there's lots of options in there. She chose the Dragonwing one, and it just automatically built for that. But yeah, exactly like she just described. Also, just from the dashboard, you can go grab it. You got options.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's actually connect to the ASL classification, and I do this because I think it's quite interesting to here. Let me sign in. I think it's quite interesting to see how far you can push a platform like this, and you clearly are able to push it quite far.
Shreya, while you're doing that, if I can bring my screen in real quick.
Yeah. Should I stop sharing?
I don't know if you'll need to stop sharing or if I can just add. Let me see. No, I can't add. We might need Maria to turn yours off and bring mine in. But I just wanted to show real quick that I did get my bird successfully trained.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, Maria, if you're backstage, if you can bring mine in real quick. There's my bird. Got him. The inference is a little, it's covered up by the live build along. Hold on. I wonder, we might need to take the banner off just for a split second. Just to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt.
We can see it kind of right above the pie and the width.
Yeah, hold on. What if I scroll? Wait. I got a little bit of scroll left on the page. Bird. If I move him out of the way, background. Awesome. If I bring him back in, bird, there he is. Just happened to have him on the desk today. Perfect. All right, we can take mine out. Yours is much more important.
I kind of want to double tap because I think that's a very cool feature of this. The fact that you can stream it directly. The fact that you can stream it directly from the phone.
Yeah, I hooked up a second. You can do it from the phone. Yes. I just hooked up a second camera just quickly for it. But yeah, I was running it just locally because I have my.
I remember back, you don't have to scrape Google for images, create a web scrape.
So no, I didn't even take that many pictures of that bird.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's cool.
Oh. Okay. Sorry for the interruption, Shreya.
You're all good. This was just running anyway. So, and after this demo, I'm actually going to show how we can, if you don't want to use the Edge Impulse runner for whatever reason, and you just want to download your TFLite model, which is one way of doing it for sure. I'll show how to actually use I'll show some code and show how we could connect or how we could just run it on the device without the Edge Impulse runner.
Yep, that'll work perfect too. Model's a model.
So I see the question from YouTube. I think it can only be done on CPU. I also wish it can be done on GPU. The feature generation part.
Comments are coming in now. All right.
So as you can see, there's nothing. Remember, 28 different classes. So A through Z plus 0 plus nothing in space. Spaces like this. Let's see if it works. All right. Kind of. Here's A. Let's try A or S. And then C. Let's try for C. Darn, it really doesn't want to work today. Maybe if I choose the unoptimized model, it would work a little bit better. But let me try L. L is quite easy. It doesn't want to work today, but a little off today, isn't it? I promise you, when I was trying this yesterday, it was working. But we can try it with the unoptimized model and see what happens.
So, and with unoptimized, that automatically kicks to CPU. Is that true?
Yeah, the hexagon needs int 8.
Yep.
So if you go to float 32, you're going to run on the CPU, which is possibly just fine. I mean, it depends on the camera resolution, model size, parameters, so there's a lot of dependencies there, but in this particular case, classification will probably run just fine on CPU as well. And kicking off a build.
So, David, quick question for you.
Yeah.
What's your favorite feature on Edge Impulse?
Favorite feature. That's a good question. I think probably so for me, I'm not a ML or data scientist. I'm able, to simply leverage the platform to create AI models that I can bring in that I wouldn't have been able to train on my own because I don't know PyTorch or Jupyter or some of the other tools, right? So I'm able to just, as a developer coming from the IoT and application world, Docker ecosystem, and so on and so forth, I'm able to simply, like we've been kind of talking about, easily collect data, build model, and go over to deployment and come away with a model. So for me, it's really about the ease of use of the entire platform, because then I take the model, that's really all I care about, but I'm not truly an ML engineer, but then I can take it and run with it. So I'd say Studio and the ability to just build an impulse, get a model, and get on my way.
Yeah. And I think when you don't have any issues with like, when I think it abstracts the work that you do so that you can spend more time fixing issues that do come up.
Yeah.
At least that's how I see it a bit.
Yeah, someone who is a subject matter expertise, a data scientist, they probably can do a lot of this without needing tooling or a studio. But for someone like myself, coming just more, like I say, from the IoT or embedded space that wants to add machine learning to a project, then I can get through all of those steps easily, point, click, and get my model and go about my business. As a machine learning engineer, you're in there able to use expert mode and import, other bits and pieces. But I like just getting through a project and then getting to deployment and, like ML ops loops and OTA stuff and that kind of like more on the application and architecture side.
Yeah, I see what you mean. But I was distracted a little bit. It's working. As you can see right here. Yeah, it's working all right.
Space.
There you go. Let's try A. A is working. L. Kind of, maybe. This is K. Kind of. Almost. I promise it was working as you were talking.
I would probably bump the resolution a tiny little bit. I'd say maybe, depends on how big that data set is. The lighting, I can tell in that room, it's a little shadowy where the camera's facing. The light is behind you. So there's all kinds of, and so this is actually like, I don't know how, we don't have all that much time left, and I know you have a lot of things you want to show, but very quickly, data set curation is critical in projects, absolutely critical. Representative data from the field or where the model's going to be deployed is worth its weight in gold. You may have taken those pictures in a different room, different lighting, different camera, and then it's not that it's failing, but it loses accuracy when you try it somewhere else, different environment. So data quality is critical.
Yeah.
That's where you spend most of your time. The training part is pretty much the easy part. It's all of the stuff before you get to training. What were some techniques? I know we are running up on time, but I know because we had some dialogue while you were building this. What were some things that you did to improve the accuracy, Shreya?
Yeah, it was modify. It was a lot of data augmentation. That was one big part. Switching up the learning optimizer, that was another part. Implementing early stopping, that was more for the compute. But like it prevented overtraining. But I think like it truly was a data issue. And I think most machine learning problems are probably data issues. But that to me, like I think just it was always very, very fine-grained, small things that I was making, some very small changes that was really big. So that at least was for me.
Okay.
But yeah, can we I wanted to also show off how like some code that I wrote to run it on the Hexagon delegate directly instead of using the Edge Impulse runner.
Yep.
Cool. Can you guys see this?
Yeah, so the text is a little small, but it's there. Might need to zoom a little bit.
Okay. But anyway, what I'm trying to do essentially is like the key part is when you're running the delegate. Also, this code is open source, so anyone can see it when you want. So you can load the delegate and you can. It basically runs directly on here. But I think the most important part today is that I actually run it and show you what results I'm getting. So this is actually after I downloaded the TFLite model, and I already took an image of the pen today, and now I can run it.
Naveen's got a great comment in chat over on LinkedIn. He said, yeah, classification models suffer due to lighting conditions.
Probably.
Yeah.
No, most definitely. Let me correct you on that. I know why this is not running.
Yeah, Naveen knows a thing or two about working with Edge Impulse. He's in our expert network, one of our ambassadors, so he has extensive knowledge on using the platform. Nice to see you in there, Naveen.
All right. Definitely didn't get this error this morning, but as you can see, the image was of a pen, and luckily it's predicting that it's a pen. But as you can see, once again, runs really fast, and if you're looking for very low latency or very fast compute, this is exactly what we're looking for. But I also really wanted to quickly show off Qualcomm AIHub now that we've kind of gotten into some more code. So I don't think if you're curious, just search up Qualcomm AIHub. So what this will help you do is say if you came in with an Onyx model, but remember, in order to run on the RUBIK Pi, you need a TFLite model. So I know a lot of people use Onyx, so you're going to just go to Qualcomm AIHub, go to bring your own model. But some docs that you may actually need is, that was an error. And also, if you're curious what it is, it simplifies deploying AI models for vision, audio, speech, and we're trying to work on other applications as well. And I personally use it a lot for compiling into different, in different ways. And let me go into these docs, actually. So if you're curious, if you want to bring your Onyx model to TFLite, you can go into our examples right here. And there you go, compiling Onyx to TensorFlow Lite or QNN. And it literally gives you a lot of examples on how you're supposed to do this. So this is the code that I truly used in order to do it. And I just had to change this device to the IoT device that I was using, which was the RUBIK Pi. So once again, this is a very straightforward process. And I found the process of using Qualcomm AIHub actually to be kind of straightforward. So I recommend people use this platform if especially you're trying to run your models on something like the RUBIK Pi. But with that being said, that's it for me. And I hope people can build more apps. I think building is super fun and important. And the more people that we empower to be machine learning engineers, I think the better the world becomes.
So quick question, Shreya, since we do have a little bit of time.
Yeah.
For somebody that's just getting into, this is definitely, great for somebody that's just trying to get into AI and learn about it. What would be the path to go from like beginner, totally not knowing anything, to expert level? What would be the step that you would take to get there using Edge Impulse, for example?
I think it's the effort that you put into looking at the docs. I think a lot about being an expert is looking at examples and reading. And I found the docs to be incredibly useful in that fact. So because it literally teaches you from ground zero about like how you're supposed to make things better. So like one thing I didn't mention today was the EON tuner. So this will help you get even finer tuned results because it tells you what parameters you're supposed to be using. So that's just one way of doing it. And you don't have to use Edge Impulse for this, of course. You could do this by yourself and then like bring the parameters on here, I guess. But I think the more that you read, the better you get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and docs, that's the barrier to great software. So the fact that the docs were easy, one of the big barriers to use. The fact that the docs were easy and you were able to get things up and running is a testament to Edge Impulse itself. Not only is the software great, but somebody that's a total beginner can get in there, get something running, take a few pictures, and just understand the power of AI and what's to come. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and another thing is looking at examples. So the work that I did for this is out in the open, right? So people can go ahead and take a look at it and learn from what I've done. I think a lot of work has already been done in the ML space, years of research, right? So it makes sense to look at what other people have done and then customize it for yourself. I really wanted a faster inference time, so that meant kind of just running or writing the code to use the TFLite model that I got from Edge Impulse and running it just running it on the hexagon delegate directly. And it takes a lot of work and experimentation, but everyone can do this.
And if somebody wanted to bring their own data set, like I said, the camera with the phone or your webcam is freaking cool. But if somebody wanted to bring their own data set, where are some places where they can go get those data sets to load into Edge Impulse?
I like Kaggle.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Kaggle. Yep.
Okay.
Shreya, a lot of the data sets are also included, not included, but in Hugging Face as well. Did you have a look through there?
I did actually. Yeah, you have to be a little. I think the licensing on Hugging Face is maybe a little bit constrained.
Gotcha.
Or I didn't look that far, but I know on Kaggle, I think the fact a lot of it is licensed and open source. So that's why I primarily look on there actually.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
I think you can find some open source stuff on Hugging Face. I'm sure.
Yeah, sometimes Hugging Face, they make it a little bit more involved to get to the data. They'll put it in a Parquet file and you have to parse and take the image, the pixels and stuff like that. But it's another big one. Are there data sets pre put together data sets on Edge Impulse itself?
There's a few, not many. We have a data set project. I have to think about where it is. I don't even remember off the top of my head, but there are just a few that we have for examples. The other way to go about it is a lot of the projects that people build are set as public. And when they're set as public, I guess you could kind of think of it like GitHub. All of the artifacts are able to be cloned. So you can go to a project and you just go to edgeimpulse.com/projects. I think will get you there. And you can start searching and filtering through all the various public projects that are out there that people have built and trained. And of course, just like GitHub or just like Hugging Face Spaces as well, quality varies, right? So you need to definitely kind of maybe set some filters or do a little bit of searching. But, folks that have already built something, if a developer set, check mark clicked as make public, their data set also is part of that. So that's another good way to, find data sets that exist already in the ecosystem.
Okay, awesome. Well, I think we're starting to bump up on time. I really wanted to just take some time to give, David, of course, I'm so glad that you were able to join us. And as soon as you pinged me, I was like, we need to get him in here. So that you were able to join and really join us. Hopefully we have some more stuff in the future we can collaborate on. And Shreya, Shreya, she was our intern this summer and she put this ASL data set together, went through the whole Edge Impulse flow. But we also threw a ton more stuff at her, and just her ability to get deep down into the weeds, technical, whether it's MCP, whether it's Kotlin, whether it's releasing to Microsoft stores, it's a testament to the type of engineer she's going to be going into the future. So she is freaking awesome, and I'm sad that tomorrow is her last day of our intern. She has set the bar, so the bar has been set. I appreciate you did this summer, Shreya. It's been a great time.
Thanks. No, I appreciate it. This has been very cool, and I love that this platform exists, and I had a lot of fun experimenting with it. It's funny though. I think now it's very easy now. But looking back back then, before I think I don't know. It was a lot harder in the beginning, but now looking at Edge Impulse now, I'm like, wow, I've learned a lot.
That's awesome.
Okay, so I think that's we made time.
We made it.
So I think we can go ahead and wrap this up until next third Thursday of next month. And we'll see you again, same place, same time. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Derrick. Thanks, Shreya.